It was a regular evening for Sarah. She had just finished her shift at the coffee shop and was walking home, her mind still on the events of the day. The streets were quiet, the streetlights casting a dim glow as she walked down the familiar road leading to her apartment. As usual, her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a call from an unknown number. She hesitated for a moment before answering. Unknown calls were always a bit unsettling, but it was probably just another telemarketer or wrong number. "Hello?" Sarah said, her voice sounding slightly tired but curious. There was a long pause before a voice finally spoke. It was deep, low, and almost too quiet to hear clearly. Sarah tried to focus, but the voice sounded eerily familiar, even though she couldn't place it. The voice said her name, asking if she remembered the speaker. Sarah froze, her mind racing. She was sure she had never spoken to this person before. A creeping sense of dread washed over her. She asked who it was, but the voice continued speaking cryptically about a past event, one Sarah knew nothing about. It mentioned a funeral, one that she never attended. The voice grew more chilling as it hinted at some dark secret, telling her she had ignored a warning, but Sarah had no idea what this stranger was talking about. With a cold and threatening tone, the voice warned her to be careful where she went that night, and before she could ask any more questions, the call abruptly ended. For a moment, Sarah stood frozen in place, the phone still pressed to her ear. Her heart was pounding. She quickly checked her phone for any clue, but there was no record of the call. It was as if it had never happened. She tried to shake it off, convincing herself it was just some twisted prank. But the words lingered in her mind. The warning, the strange connection to a sister she never had, and the chilling tone of the voice all felt wrong. That night, Sarah stayed on edge, unable to sleep. She heard a knock at the door, loud, insistent. Her heartbeat raced as she opened it, only to find nothing there. Instead, a piece of paper lay on the doorstep. It read, "Be careful where you go tonight." Her blood ran cold. How did the person know where she was? How could they have known to leave that note at her door? The unease that had settled in her stomach deepened. The next moment, her phone rang again. It was the same unknown number. She answered, her voice trembling. There was no response, only the faint sound of breathing on the other end. The phone clicked off before she could ask any more questions. She felt like something was watching her, lurking just beyond her view. "Ben?" She glanced through the window, noticing a black car parked at the corner of the street, its headlights off. It hadn't been there before. Her anxiety intensified. Her mind screamed that something was terribly wrong. Suddenly, another text message arrived from the same unknown number. The words sent a chill down her spine. "I can see you." Sarah turned to look around the apartment, her eyes darting across the rooms. The place was eerily silent, but then she saw something in the corner of her vision. A shadow. A figure standing there, almost invisible in the dim light. She froze. Was someone in her apartment? She turned slowly, her breath catching in her throat. There, in the corner of the room, was a figure. The man was tall and wearing a mask, his eyes locked on her, his presence suffocating the air. She backed away slowly, her heart thundering in her chest. The figure didn't move, only watching her silently. Sarah could hear her own rapid breaths as the terror gripped her. Was this a prank? A man who had somehow broken in? Or something far worse? Then there was a loud crash at the door. Sarah spun around, her heart skipping a beat. Her best friend, Emily, burst into the apartment, calling her name, pulling her out of her frozen state. "Sarah, are you okay?" The figure vanished instantly. Sarah looked around, confused and terrified, but there was no trace of the man. Emily looked at Sarah, puzzled by her distress. "Who did you see?" Emily asked. "There's no one here, Sarah." But Sarah could feel it. Something wasn't right. The phone calls, the strange messages, the figure in her room. It had all been real. She had seen it. Before she could explain further, Sarah glanced at the window again. The black car was still there, parked across the street, its headlights off, and as she stared at it, something shifted inside her. An unsettling realization that this was far from over. The phone rang once again. Sarah didn't answer it. She couldn't. She felt trapped in a nightmare with no way out.